Hello, everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of Project Hail Mary, one of my most anticipated movies of 2026 for a number of reasons. You have Phil Lord and Christopher Miller who directed this film. Big fans of theirs. They given us such classics over the last, I would say, 25 years. 25. Yeah, 25 years. The Lego movie, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, just to dip into the animated side, along with the Spider-Verse films. And live action wise, how can you forget about 21 Jump Street? And then you have Ryan Gosling, who's in front of the camera as well as behind. He also produced this film. But Ryan Gosling is one of my faves. He's one of those actors that is a movie star, but his films aren't like super big blockbusters. You know, he's in blockbuster films, but they don't do particularly blockbuster numbers at the box office. And it's sad to say because I thought Fall Guy was pretty good. It wasn't great, but it was pretty good. The Nice Guys, I love The Nice Guys, and countless other films that he's been a part of. But I've been waiting for him to really blow up box office rise, to take the mantle as one of Hollywood's hottest movie stars. Even though it's kind of ridiculous to say that, being as though it's Ryan Gosling, and he's Ryan Gosling. He pops up in everything. I think his next film is a Star Wars movie. And so he's not hurting by no stretch. But I mean, as far as the financial side, to show that he can carry a film, I don't know what else he can do. He's shown that, but the numbers don't show that. But this movie was on my radar because I'm a big science fiction nut. I love space movies, movies that deal with space. I love isolated movies as well, when you have your protagonist pretty much on his own trying to figure out how to save either himself or the world or both. And this film is that. In Project Mary, which is based on a novel by Andy Weir, and if you don't know who he is, he wrote The Martian as well, which was also turned into a movie a few years ago that starred Matt Damon, and it was directed by Ridley Scott. And shockingly, a good movie, because Ridley Scott it's been hit and miss with Ridley Scott over the last few years when it comes to his films. And he's one of the most prominent filmmakers working, up to that point, but he has had some misses. But The Martian really knocked it out the park. And Andy Weir, not only responsible for that, but is responsible for writing a novel for Project Hail Mary, which has similar tones. An astronaut per se, stranded, has to find a way to survive, and this, that, and the third. So it's very similar, but very different at the same time. Project Hail Mary tells the story of a science teacher named Ryland Grace, who is portrayed by Ryan Gosling, of course, and he wakes up alone on a spaceship light years from Earth. And as his memory returns, he uncovers a mission to stop a mysterious substance killing the sun and save Earth. An unexpected friendship may be the key. I loved this movie. This movie was so good. This is officially the bar for 2026. You have to meet you have to meet the standards of Project Hail Mary for the remainder of this year. Now, we got a long way to go, of course, but as it stands right now, this is the bar. Everything about this movie worked. This movie is close to perfection. I am holding back with every ounce of strength that I have to spew out the word masterpiece, but it is right there on the cusp. This movie just knocked everything out the park. I have never, and I'm not being facetious, I'm not embellishing in no sense of the word. I've been going to the movies, watching movies on television for the better part of 46 years, about to be 47 in a couple of days. And I have never sat down and fully enjoyed a movie like I did with this, where every aspect of the film worked. The comedy and jokes worked. I was laughing. I was literally laughing out loud. Normally, if a movie's funny, it's funny, and I'll kind of chuckle under my breath or something, but I was laughing, and for a movie with the tone, with the stakes as high as it was, you wouldn't expect it to be as funny. And if it is, it would kind of throw off the movie, like take away some of the tension, but it doesn't. It really worked. And Lord and Miller is a master of that, or they are masters of that. This was just perfectly done. The cinematography in this movie. Greg Foster was the DP on this film. If you don't know his filmography, he did The Batman. He did Doom. I believe Doom Part 2. I'm not 100% on Doom Part 1, but he could have done that as well. But he has an excellent filmography if you go through his resume. And this was shot so beautifully. I was blessed to watch this in IMAX. And I don't normally promote IMAX like that. I will just tell you, go see it any way you can. But if you can spare the extra couple of bucks to go see it in IMAX, go see this in IMAX. My God, this was one of the most beautiful movies to look at. Visually, it was stunning. Visually stunning. Ryan Gosling gives an Academy Award worthy performance in this film. Once again, I'm not just whistling Dixie here. He gives probably his best performance in this movie. Ryan Gosling, let me try to put it in perspective here. You look at a film like Castaway with Tom Hanks, right? He had to literally carry that movie by himself. Why? Because he was by himself. And that's not easy. That's not easy for an actor to carry a film by themselves, because you have to be emotionally invested, not only in that character, but what's going on around you, and connect you to the story and the world that's being built here. And Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks. He can do no wrong. So you expect that with Tom Hanks. They asked Ryan Gosling to do that in this movie for the better part of the movie. And he did it. He did it. He brought you through every range of emotion you could fester in a human being. But what made the performance unique was he would hit you with these emotional moments when we just got finished hearing these jokes or him trying to break the levity of the situation, but his emotion was so heavy, and he'll just have a tear running down his cheek, and I found myself like sniffing it in the theater, like trying to hold it back. It was that deep of a performance, man, where this character, I believed in this character. He is one of the most realistic characters I've seen in a film in a mighty long time. He's a character where you can either look at him and see yourself, or look at him and see somebody you know or love. And that's that guy. That's that person. You're like, okay, he's not a hero. And this film also shows how this character, even though literally the weight of the world is on his shoulders, he doesn't want this job. And this is expressed throughout the entire film. But in spite of that, he still tries to get the job done. You know, he fights through that fear that he has, you know, that anxiety that he has, that, you know, I don't want this responsibility. And the fact that I have to do this or try to complete this, and knowing what the end results, you know, what's at the end of this rainbow for you. You know, it's not a happy ending, but he still has to bargain on, you know, literally being thrown in this situation. And man, it was so powerful. It was so powerful of a character, because, you know, I started self-reflecting, and when a movie does that to you, you can't help but love it. You know, when you got to start looking within yourself, like, okay, what would I do in that situation? We all say we'll run into a burning building and save somebody, or we'll jump in a lake, even though we can't swim, to try to pull somebody to safety or whatever. But when that situation actually happens to you, would you actually freeze? Because there's a lot of people who will freeze up, and it's not like they don't want to do it. It's just a mental block. You know, it's like something holding you back. Is that fear? You know, bravery isn't something you're born with. You know, the only way you know you're brave if you do something brave. You know, the only way you can find out you're a heroic person, if you do something heroic. You know, you have to throw yourself in that situation. And so in this particular situation, it's basically what happens to our lead character of Grace. And man, this movie is 2.5 hours long, and I could have went 2.5 hours more just following him. Such a power, and you needed the right actor for this role, and Ryan Gosling was perfection. I spoke a little bit about Lord and Miller. You know what I was thinking throughout this film, among 500 other things, while I was just sitting there in pure glee? What happened on the set of the Han Solo movie that got them fired? How did they get kicked off of the Han Solo movie? That will be one of the, I can't wait for that book to come out, that tell all, to tell us what exactly happened. Because if this is the level of a space movie we were going to get in the Solo movie, we missed out. And all due respect to Ron Howard, one of the greats, but man, I wish Lord and Miller would have got the opportunity to complete their vision with this that Han Solo movie. Because the one we got, it was fine, but it wasn't nothing to write home and tell mom about. But man, I just got mad. I got mad thinking about that. I was like, what? How did they drop the ball? Now, granted, it could have been a learning experience for them. Maybe they weren't ready for prime time at that moment. That, because it's been some years since that. So maybe they learned. Maybe they revamped some of their methods, or how they directed the film and whatnot. Because man, they directed the piss out of this movie. Our supporting character, they do have a supporting character, and I'm not spoiling anything because it's all in the trailers. The alien, Rocky. Look, I thought this was, when I first saw the first trailer, and that alien popped up, I was like, oh my God, where are we going with this? You know, what kind of story are they telling here? Because obviously I didn't read the book. So I was a little hesitant with that, in how they were going to portray this character, or how this character was going to help the story and whatnot. Oh my God, great! That character was great. It was so perfect It was so perfect in the way that Ryan Gosling bounced off of this CGI rock alien creature was was just beautiful. It was one of the most beautiful bromances you'll see on the big screen. Look, bro, the short story long. This movie was perfect. It was a masterpiece. I tried to hold it back, but I can't. It was a masterpiece. I've been trying to find a flaw since I left the theater. And it's been about what, an hour, 2 hours since I've been home. So it's I don't know. I can't find a flaw in this movie. That's why I'm giving Project Hail Mary, The Beloved, A+. This was great. I am going back to see this again in the theater. I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting till it drop on streaming or a Prime Video, whatever. I'm going to see it again on the big screen because it needs to be watched on the biggest screen possible, preferably IMAX. I'm telling you, it's worth every penny. This was this was beautiful. The story was beautiful. Visuals were beautiful. The acting was beautiful. Perfection. That's like the meme of Martin Scorsese, Absolute Cinema. That's this. This it was perfection. But I would love to know, what did you think of Project Hail Mary? Did you like it? Did you read the book? And what is the book anything like the movie? I would love to know. I want to know, did they make any changes? Did they take liberties here or there? Or did the ending change or whatever? I would love to know what the book said. And I guess y'all probably telling me, well, read it yourself. Well, okay, I'll read it then. But I just wanted to know. But in case you wanted to tell me, you can email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel. And like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Project Hail Mary. I want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.